and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I thought I'd film a little April TBR video. I've never filmed a TBR video before, but because I usually don't set a TBR because I just kind of read whatever I want, whatever I'm in the mood for, just pick something random off my shelf. But this month I decided to, and for the past couple of months I've been like setting myself a little bit of a TBR and mostly not sticking to it, but this month I have some books that I really want to read, so I decided to make a TBR of all the books that I want to read this month, and I thought I'd film a video to share them with you guys, and then we'll see in my monthly wrap up if I read any of these books, or if I read none of them, or if I read one of them, or whatever. And yeah, so I thought I'd film this video because yeah, I did set a TBR and I have some books that I'm really excited and I really want to read this month, so we'll see if I actually get them read. I have a very hopeful amount of books and I am on the holidays, so I'm off uni, so we'll see if I get all these books read. But let's just go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so apparently I lost the footage of me talking about the first book on my TBR in this video. My camera was playing up a lot in this video, so I just want to apologize if the footage is a little all over the place or the camera angles changed, because I don't know what was wrong with my camera. It kept stopping and starting and stopping and starting, and it was very frustrating. So I ended up losing the footage, or it just didn't record, or I don't know, because the next clip that I have is of me talking about the book, but I didn't get the first bit. So the first book on my TBR this month is The Birthday List by Devney Perry. I've never read a book by her before, and I'm actually currently reading this book at the moment, and it's really, really good. I love it so far, and I really like her writing style. And yeah, so basically this is about Poppy, and her husband passes away, and then you fast forward 5 years, and her husband had this list of things that he wanted to do every birthday for however many birthdays, and it's kind of like a bucket list, but like based on birthdays instead. So by his 30th birthday he wanted to do this one thing, and then by his 37th birthday he wanted to do this other, he had a bunch of things that he wanted to do, and Poppy decides that she wants to complete this list as a way of like closure and moving on. And yeah, so she's going throughout her life completing this list, and there's obviously so many things, and she wants to get them done by the end of the year. And she ends up meeting Cole, and he is a police officer in the town, and he offers to help her with this list, and they're both very attracted to each other. But obviously Poppy's finding it hard to, you know, fully move on because, you know, she was so in love with her husband. And yeah, so it's about her, you know, grieving her husband and moving on and healing, and Cole's so patient and sweet with her, and it's really, really good so far, and I'm loving it. So that is the first book on my TBR this month. And yeah, back to the video. And then Letters to Molly is the second book in the series, and that's about Poppy, the main girl in the first book, her brother, and that's his love story. It's a second chance romance, I believe, and Molly, the main girl, gets these letters, and that's kind of all I know. But I'm really enjoying the book so far. Love Devney Perry's writing. It's the first book that I've read from her, and I'm really enjoying it. And then I also want to read The Confidence of Wildflowers by Michaela Smeltzer, and the second book in that, Duet, that actually came out today. But yeah, I've heard that this is a really good book, but apparently the ending's really, really sad, and I am like interested to see what's so sad about it. But it's an age gap novel, single parent. You guys know I'm a sucker for a single parent book, single dad specifically, and that's what this book is. And then yeah, age gap. I'm excited to read this Duet as well. And then I also want to read the second book in the Brutal Birthright series. I read Brutal Prince, is that what it's called, by Sophie Lark a couple months ago, and it wasn't my favorite. I didn't love it, but I do want to keep going with the series because there are like some characters that I really want to see, and they obviously have their book. And then I want to read the spin-off series with the kids, the Kingmakers, because that sounds like a really interesting concept, like a mafia school, boarding school type of thing. So yeah, I want to read the next book in this series because I've heard that they do get better. We'll see if I end up reading all of those. But yeah, so there are all the books that I want to read on my Kindle this month. Now moving on to the books that I have physically. The next book that I'm hoping to read this month is the next book in the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series, Thrive. I have been missing this series and I want to dive back in, and I'm missing Lillian Lowe, so I can't wait to read the next book. Although I have heard this one's basically a recap of Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, but in Lillian Lowe's point of view. I am interested to see their point of view, of course, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit repetitive, but that's okay. And then I also want to try and read Addicted After All but I've been like hesitant to dive back into this series because I don't want it to be over. Like I've already read 5 of the books and I'm like, I only have 5 more to go. Like I'm attached, I don't want to leave these characters, so I'm reading it slowly, which is why I haven't read the next book in the series yet, but I want to read it this month because I'm really missing them, and then I might dive into Addicted After All. I don't have the paperback yet, but I will buy it if I do end up reading it, wanting to read it this month. But I'm also scared to read it because it's the last book for Lillian Lowe, and apparently like everyone falls their eyes out with that book, so I'm like scared but excited to dive back into the world because I've been missing these characters. So yeah, that's the next book that I want to read this month. And then I want to read Before We Were Strangers. This book's been on my TBR for the longest time and it's always out of stock on Amazon, and it finally came in stock, so I bought it and I really want to read it. I love second chance romances, and I also want to film a second chance romances recommendation video, so I want to read a bunch of second chance romances to recommend in that video. So I want to read this one. Don't know much about it other than it's a second chance romance. They meet in college, I think, and then fall in love, and then something happens, and then they haven't seen each other in years, and they, you know, rekindle, and that's kind of all I know. I also love the cover. It's so stunning. So yeah, I can't wait to read this one. And then I have Most of All You by Mia Sheridan. This is like a definite read. I'm definitely going to be reading this book. I'm going to read it basically after I finish the book that I'm reading at the moment. I just wanted to wait until I was on the holidays from uni so I could just literally sit and read it and not have to do uni work in between and not be interrupted, because I love Archer's voice. You guys know I talk about it all the time, and this book is so similar to that. Apparently, like good boy, like innocent boy, and like bad girl, even though Bree's not like a bad girl, but like she's, you know, more experienced, less innocent, you know, and it's kind of the same vibes. And so I've heard amazing things about this book and I cannot wait to read it. Plus I've seen some quotes and I've just like fallen in love. And so yeah, this is another one that was out of stock on Amazon for the longest time, and then it finally came in stock and I ordered it straight away. But I cannot wait to read this. This is like one that I'll definitely be reading. Stay tuned to hear my thoughts. I hope I fall in love with it. So I'm coming on here really quick to refilm this part of the video because my camera was literally having so many problems yesterday. It's doing it again now. I'm refilming this clip again because yeah, my camera's just not working. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it keeps stopping and starting and stopping and starting, and it just won't film consistently, which is very frustrating. But I'm just coming on here really quick to show you guys the last 4 books that I want to read this month because I lost that footage, unfortunately. So I'm quickly refilming this before I have to go back to class because I have class in like 20 minutes. So let's power through this. So the last 4 books that I want to read this month are the last 4 books in the Hopeless series by Colleen Hoover. Kind of series. It's like, anyway, I read Hopeless last month and you guys know I absolutely loved it. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite books from Colleen. Dean Holt is literally everything, so I can't wait to read the next book, which is Losing Hope, and I want to read this month. And this is basically the first book but told in Dean's point of view, and apparently it's very different as well from the first book. It doesn't feel repetitive, and I can't wait to get inside Dean's head because he's like one of my favorite book boyfriends ever, and I cannot wait to know what he was thinking throughout the first book. And yeah, I can't wait to read this one. And then after that I want to read Finding Cinderella, which is the book that you read after, and it's a novella about Six, who is Sky from the first book's best friend and her love interest, and obviously it's very short, maybe about 100 pages, and so you read this afterwards and it's just a little bonus. And then I want to reread All Your Perfects because this book you read after you read the Hopeless series, and then you read Finding Perfect, which links the Hopeless series to All Your Perfects. So I want to reread All Your Perfects because I read this early last year and absolutely fell in love with it. It's such an amazing book. It is about Quinn and Graham who are struggling in their marriage. It's like a second chance marriage in trouble trope, and obviously heartbreaking, definitely check trigger warnings. And basically it's told in the past and the present, chapters flipping, so one chapter is told in the past and one chapter is told in the present. So in the past they are meeting for the first time and falling in love for the first time, and you get to see them meet and fall in love and be super happy and see how happy they were in the start of their relationship. And then you fast forward 7 years later and they've been married for 7 years and their marriage is struggling because they are struggling with this issue. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to spoil anything, but their marriage is kind of falling apart. The love's still there, but this thing that's happening is kind of tearing them apart and making it really hard for them to connect like they used to, and it's absolutely heartbreaking and it's so freaking good. I'm obsessed. I bawled my eyes out when I read this for the first time, so I can't wait to read it again so that I can annotate it, because I didn't get to do that the first time, and highlight all the amazing quotes and everything like that. So I can't wait to reread this one, and then I want to reread that so that it can be fresh in my mind for when I read Finding Perfect, which links all your perfects to the Hopeless series. I have no idea what this book's about, except that it links them together, and I have no idea what the link could be, but I'm really excited to find out because apparently it's like a really cool link. I don't know. But yes, so this is a super short novella, literally under 100 pages, or just 100 pages maybe. And yeah, I cannot wait to read these 4 books because the Hopeless series is just so good and I love all your perfects, so I can't wait to reread that. And yeah, that is all the books that I want to read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I'm really sorry that this video is so choppy and all over the place. My camera was literally having a breakdown. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.